Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for the Game Plan, and I'm happy to be joined by my guest today, who's going to be talking about an exciting new venture here that's getting one of Canada's greatest athletes on board. He is Neissan Monadjem. How you doing, Neissan?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me.
And Neissan, this is an exciting company, an exciting brand that you have here, LinkSports. Can you just talk to our listeners a little bit more about it and what you guys do?
Yeah, certainly. I hope, well, of course, everybody knows we're linked to sports. But how do we actually make a difference is that our vision is to allow access to sponsorship, to small sponsorship. Usually, the sports industry was built by scouting platforms that look for the 0.001% higher performance. And of course, it's a competitive game, so it makes sense. What we're thinking is that the majority of people, just to give an example, like 40 million players in Brazil, only 33,000 are professionals, and only 17,000 of them will become professionals this year. So it's 0.06%. And most of them don't even make $800 a month. But because of the glamorous bigger players like Neymar and now Hendrick and in his time also Dwayne De Rosario in Canada, most of the youngsters are persecuting fame and fortune, but they end up spending 10 years of their life in sports with no help, no infrastructure, no gear, and quite the opposite, paying to play. So we're changing that by being a technical platform that analyzes performance, decodes it using AI, allows scouts to get access for free, just like LinkedIn allows headhunters to hire your services, Giancarlo, without paying to come in and look at you and your resume and your platform. We thought, okay, it's time to have a LinkedIn of sports. We won't charge the talent and we won't charge the scouts and we won't make a commission on what the scouts will make. We'll help them find talent. We'll help them uh, by giving them stats and numbers that can be compared because they are benchmarks of apples to apples and oranges to oranges, which means we compare people with the same height, the same age, the same performance, the same gender. So, in a nutshell, we are a platform that helps talent to be visible no matter where they are and to get a small sponsorship every month that will help them in their career and eventually education as well, because that's what we are working now to have the best players in the roster receiving sponsorship and scholarship.
And where did this idea come from? Because, like, obviously now, like, even the cost to get into soccer has grown a lot in recent years, and just like you mentioned, there, the pay to play. So, what did the idea come from in terms of like really putting this into motion and getting it started?
Well, the idea came from observing. I have four boys, four sons. I was observing that these guys spend like a compounded 25 hours a week watching football, playing FIFA, playing in the yards, and then I thought, well, that multiplied by billions of people that love football, perhaps I can build something that approaches these talented youngsters and young players, amateur players, from professionals. So they those that are outside the funnel of competitions, of championships, can also be visible, just like planes that are not preparing to land close to the airport are captured by radar. Um, we thought we should create a platform that helps these boys and girls be visible no matter where they are. And that's what brought us to create Link Sports.
And with Link Sports, with this platform that you have here, like, have you noticed maybe more people that you weren't expecting already sign up, or has it just been more of a local, domestic platform, to kick
Now,
things off?
I'm impressed because for a startup that just started 5 years ago, we have 29 countries that have already downloaded the app. We have talent in many African countries. Of course, in Brazil, where our first pilot was released, we have talent from Canada, the US, in California, many other places. And that's not surprising because football is an international, uh, let's say, uh, background that moves people, moves emotions, and connects people. And that context is international. Now, why would you have a restriction that is regional? Like, for instance, your chances to be seen by a scout are minimum if you're not in a large city. If you are in the outskirts of a Brazilian city and town that doesn't have competitions, regional funnels, you will never be visible. Nobody's paying a ticket to drive hours and hours or fly and spend $500 just to go there and see someone playing. So we thought if we bring these data, if we separate the skills in 15 different skills, scouts, and not only scouts, fans can see these players and compare them in a fair way. Because you, Giancarlo, you have to agree that if you and I watch the first game, which is Bosnia against Canada, in 2 days, we will both disagree on who was the best player in the game. But if you see everyone doing the same exercise in 15 different modalities, just like a digital combine, it's very hard to disagree. If someone does the same challenge in 12 seconds and the other is doing in 16, there must be an advantage, a competitive advantage. So, what we do is we bring these things to light.
And like just even on that too, the platform like scouts now, with how many showcase tournaments are out there, and even at the levels, high performance has been another one in recent years has really come up. Like, are you noticing more use this platform to maybe get an early sense of a player, like what they do before going out to these showcase tournaments?
Yeah, first of all, we have to bear in mind that the majority of talented people, talented youngsters, 13 and up, are not members of a family that can support their trips to these tournaments. The cost, like, give you an example. If a father or a mother has the time, which nowadays most of the families both have to work, so there's no mother hockey mom anymore. I mean, it's even in Canada, that is a problem. Now, in football, in countries where both parents have to work, and many of them don't have the $100 for a tournament, much less the trip to that tournament, most of the kids are not participating in those tournaments. So there is an access that is selective access if you were born in the right family. And now, supposing you're not, you won't go to the tournament. Of course, there are exceptions, and maybe someone is going to sponsor you, or maybe you even have the means. But the majority of people fall outside the radar, or under the radar. And then I think what we're doing is that we are leveling the field, not based on what kind of family you were born, or if you're close to a tournament or far, or if there is a tier one club in your city. Like, for instance, a girl that uh, 2 weeks ago was hired by Flamengo, which is a
Okay.
world known soccer club in Brazil. Or another case, a girl that was hired by Botafogo, which is next to Flamengo, a very important club in Rio, which means 25 million fans. She wasn't visible in Rio. She was 1,000 kilometers away from Rio, and she was just hired. Happens that she was the highest ranking girl in our app. So I think when you bring the selective impact of performance and you remove the difficulties of financial means, gear, where you live, and who do you know, you are creating a democratic access to uh, an opportunity in sports. And that doesn't maybe um, work the same way in Canada than it works in Brazil, because Canadian parents are looking for maybe scholarships for their kids in the US Ivy League universities. But still, you need a scout to see you. How does that happen? Now, in the app, you can not only see, but measure and compare people, because the AI system that we use in the app already selected them, and the scout will have to lose less time instead of trusting someone else that is saying, "Oh my God, this guy plays really well." What is best, really well, or absurdly well, or amazingly well? These are all emotional things. But when you look at our score, a boy or a girl that has over 600 points in the LinkSports score is almost like me and you comparing our English, which, of course, by my accent wouldn't be comparable to yours. But uh, if we are here disputing who has a better vocabulary, we could just settle the dispute by having a score given by TOEFL. We became the TOEFL of sports. There is no other system in the world that allows you to rank kids in the way we do. We are not saying this is the perfect ranking. We are just saying this is the only global ranking in the world today for sports. So even with free access, a parent can proudly show that his kid plays better. If a scout is going to contact him or not, that's not our problem. The same way that on LinkedIn, nobody is giving you a certificate that you will be hired, but chances are that you are much more visible.
And also, I like how you brought that up too with AI. Like you're implementing AI in this platform. So, like, what were maybe some of the early trials of that? And was there one, I guess, stat or any other data that you implemented
Yeah,
to affect this?
I can share a few things. First of all, AI is a buzzword. Everybody has AI now, from the dentist to the scout of the first tier clubs. That's the difference. First of all, we didn't start now. We deployed the first AI metric, which is actually measuring of athletic skills using AI in 2022. Someone may say, "Oh, but I deployed in 2021." Yes, but your business model is to sell that to a first tier club and make a monthly revenue with the club. The only company that does rank people for free all over the world is LinkSports. So we are using AI. And as an example, I'll tell you one thing. For instance, our kick up counter. We needed a person counting the kick ups of players. Now that had a very great limit, because you can't do that faster than the number of times that the guy kicks up. And if he kicks up 230 times, you're talking about an 8-minute video. How many 8-minute videos one person that costs $2,000 at least per month, if he's working in Brazil, will allow me to process, as opposed to using AI and processing or having the capacity to process kickups. And then, Giancarlo, you will say, "Oh, wait a minute, but nobody said that a guy that is a champion on kickups is going to be hired by Real Madrid." No, he won't. But he is not only champion of AI kickups metrics, he's champion of 14 other things, right? Ball control, long range kicks, or defense, or dribbling. All these things count. If you're better than everyone else in all those things, you're likely a better player. It still requires you to go and play in a match, in a real match, not digital measurement. And of course, we know that that is the second stage. We will always need scouts, just like LinkedIn needs the recruiters and the headhunters. But when LinkedIn was released in 2005, mind
Yeah.
you, 21 years ago, a lot of people thought, "Oh, this doesn't make sense. They're not charging the talent any monthly fee." Of course, now they have the premium, but and they're not charging the headhunters, so it wouldn't make sense.
And like you also bring there like the metrics that are used. Like, are the players maybe like wearing something where it will track like their speed or like anything else, or
No,
was that something else?
no, that's an option. We do have an integration to wearables. We actually have signed 2 years ago an integration with a company that allows us. And in our test 4 years ago, we used Polar to measure, those stripes, those
Yeah,
things that measure your heartbeat and etc. Okay, so we have IoT, and there is a director of IoT in the company that allows other data other than video analytics to be captured. The thing is, again, not everyone has a special Apple Watch. Not everyone can afford a Polar watch, which is at least $200-300. So we created a system that at the least in the base level uses video analytics generated by regular cell phone cameras. No LiDAR, no special tripod, no laser. We are trying to use the hardware that is ubiquitous and available everywhere. And mind you, in most of the poor countries, there are more kids' smartphone in their pocket than with the money to buy cleat shoes. It's stupid, but that's the reality, because they get a hand me down from their parents, and since everyone has a cell phone, a mobile phone, a smartphone, and it goes to their older brother and eventually to them, we decided using video analytics because it's more available. But we can also use IoT.
that's great. And like, is there maybe a form of data that you're seeing from the younger age groups that has surprised you more in terms of like which players ranking higher than others in like a category?
Well, there are data that indicates that there is a unbalance. First of all, even in our app, but everywhere else, between boys and girls, female and male players.
Yeah.
So 87% of the players in the app are boys, and only 13% are girls. That's something we're working on it now, and especially because next year is the um, Women's World Cup for FIFA. And there are the data as well. For instance, we have detected that uh, boys that have higher score, they they have higher score in almost all the 15 challenges. It's not that they jump higher, but the rest they're lousy. Usually they're good in horizontal jump, vertical jump, kick ups, ball control, etc. So this was a surprise. We found that there is a major, let's say, balance between the challenges. Then we also found, for our surprise, that when we compare our stats with the stats of a much more established technology, such as the technology that uses accelerometers and heartbeat that is used in wearable watches, uh, they detect the best players, and we cross with our best players, and they are the same group of players, boys and girls. So that was also a surprise. An amazing surprise also is that out of 100,000, each 100,000 downloads, we get a humongous number of full profiles filled. I mean, our profile is not like a Facebook profile or an Instagram profile. We know the
Yeah.
size of the feet of the player, what is the predominant foot. We know their height, their age, um, their weight. And of course, the parents have to allow us to have that information. This is one of the reasons why we just launched our version 2.2 with privacy law in mind, according to Canadian PIPEDA rules and regulations. So we are fully compliant. But what I mean is, I was surprised to see that in every 100,000 downloads, the number of full um, profiles filled by these kids is extremely high, because the number of visitors is also much bigger than that. But this is the end of the funnel, is when I can compare and create stats. I need them to give me their numbers and their information and their videos. And that was a surprising factor. We have other things as well. We know that the industry usually claims that most of the kids under 18, when they give up the career, 49% of them are declaring that it's because of the cost.
Yeah.
Now that is absurdly small in our case, because we help them receive what we call micro sponsorship, which is a small stipend per month, either provided by fans or by companies, so that they can keep striving. And for many of these boys and girls, it's the first time they're making any money other than the parents giving them the money. It's
Yeah.
it's the first time thousands of people every week are getting money converted to gift cards, because we don't give them cash, only gift cards in sports apparel, so, and of course gear, etc. So uh, it's the first time that kids, poor or not poor, are making money out of sports, because most of them, 99.94% of the kids, will never make a dime out of sports. They will never be professional. But on LinkSports as a platform, we provide many of them, especially if they are good in the score, small income. It's not an income, it's a stipend, 20,
Yeah.
$30 a month. But that may changes the game in the life of a boy that lives in Guatemala or in, I don't know, the outskirts of New Delhi.
Like, is this something where you're seeing, like, I know it's only a few years, but has like other leagues approached you about Link Sports, of like maybe even bringing it to their professional leagues?
Yes. First of all, one of our senior advisors has been with us since 2021, and he was a member of the board of FIBA,
Oh,
Federation of Basketball. And of course, he was the president of the Brazilian Basketball League. And not coincidentally, with a lot of interactions with Japanese clubs, we signed a commitment to provide to them a basketball version of our app. And we already have the third generation AI running on basketball, but we have not built a community in basketball. We have conversations on cricket as well, and of course, hockey. After all, we are based in Canada. So there are other leagues. Now, this is in the sense of other sports, not in the sense of clubs coming to us and asking us, please, I want to use this, with one exception, which is the clubs that want to use it to maximize the revenue coming from their fans, not their players. Okay, so the fans are able to create uh, a very profitable platform for the club, because the fans are paying to become honorary scouts for their beloved club scouts. Is almost like scouts have two eyes, and no club has more than four or five scouts. The rest are sub scouts that are relating to them. So imagine you have 20 million eyes helping those four or five guys with their 10 eyes. And that is perfectly possible, because all we offer them is a white label platform in which the club populates with its own talent and tells the millions of followers, hey fan, now you can bring your son, your nephew, the friend that you saw playing on the school yesterday, bring them all. And how do you make money? We split with the club not only the monthly fee for the fans to become honorary scouts, but we also allow them to invest in the career, in the future of those boys and girls. It's almost like a social betting, because you're betting that this boy will be hired by the club you love. Now, this is the nice part. If that boy that you believed in, and maybe 20 other people believed in, and in the course of 6 months, he made $1,000 out of small donations. If that boy is hired, then the club pays everyone that brought this boy to visibility. Everyone gets 3 or 4 times what they invested. It's not a big money. It's okay. I invested $200 for 2 or 3 boys that I thought, or 2 or 3 girls that I thought were the best in the platform, and I make $600-700, and the club is happy, and the fan is happy that helped the scouts. So this is what we call white label application of our app, and actually the version 2 now that's released in soft launch in Canada since yesterday. This version has a feature. If you pay a monthly subscription, you can change the app to the color of your club. For instance, if you cheer for Toronto FC, you make it red. If you are a Corinthians lover and fan in Brazil, you change it to black and white, and so on.
This is like where I know like a lot of fans will see this, like transfer market has been one where everyone gets to see like some players what they're worth. Maybe a club can go after them, but is your long-term vision for this to be like a transfer market for some of the youth players that don't get that exposure and don't have that kind of funding that some of these
Certainly,
other wealthy ones? Yeah.
certainly. But one thing that comes with the white hairs of the founders, nobody is naive. So, as opposed to some people that say that they will do this or that they do this, we actually are very careful into what we claim. And what you just described is only possible if you follow FIFA rules. And
Yeah.
because you probably know them, in order to do that, in our second stage, we are acquiring a football club. There are presently 130 acquirable clubs in Brazil. And by being a formation club, you enter the regulation of FIFA, and then you can have the digital part feeding that physical side of it. And then you can have a commission as an agent until they are 27 years old, depending on how many years you invested in their career. That's the second stage of what we do, but we know that in terms of revenue model, that is just finding the 0.06%. Until you find a boy in Brazil that becomes the next Hendrik, that will have, when he's younger than 18, a 2 million euro contract a month, and then you'll make a hefty commission. Until you find that kind of gold, you have to process a lot of silver. So what we believe is that we better have our revenue pointing to the base of the pyramid, and the top of the pyramid, let the scouts deal with them. They're better than us on that. But we can do in a scalable way thousands of boys a day, and we know we can change the game. Like, for instance, girls playing in Brazil. Our aim and purpose is to have 10,000 of them receiving a monthly stipend of $36 in 6 months with the help of Brazilian corporations. And that is a unique thing, because
Yeah.
everyone you talk in the sports arena is either working on the grassroots, which means he has less than 1% of the money that goes to the professional leagues. 1% if you're optimistic. And either that 1% is in the grassroots, or you're aiming the millions of dollars of the top tier players. We are in between, helping millions of dollars come to those boys and girls in the grassroots. There is nobody else doing this. And I tell you more, this is a venture capital aiming business. We have already over 20 investors, and we do perceive the value of having profit. So don't think this is an NGO only helping people. We are a lucrative model that is actually scalable and impacting grassroots sports in a scale or potential scale that no other business model ever had. I don't want to sound too stuck up or arrogant. I know that we are in the beginning of a long journey, but the model is totally different than any other thing that is called scouting platform.
And in terms of your long-term vision for this, what would you say for, I guess, link sports for soccer, football? Like, what's your long-term vision in, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
Okay, we want to have in the next 2 years 5 million downloads. We want to have subscribers in Canada because if you, I didn't say that, but everything I mentioned is free. If you want a monthly uh, monitoring by a professional coach, and I'm talking, you know, assistant coaches from the national Brazilian team. If you want a guy like this to look at your kid and help him advance in the career and record a specific video for him, which he will post on social media and probably will raise his visibility. At least in our platform that do that are obtaining over 2 million viewers. 2 million viewers just because there is a professional coach from the national Brazilian club team coaching them. Now, bear in mind, we are absolutely sure that we need to cooperate with the football academies. So our vision is not to become a digital football academy. We want the football academy to be respected as they are usually not very much in Brazil, where there is the biggest number of football academies in the planet, because they're barely making a living. They charge sometimes less than $100 a month. In many cases, they are just living month by month with minimum revenue. We want to increase their revenue by helping them have what we call the TOEFL of football, and they will make money by giving the certificate. We want to be the independent agency that certificates. We don't want to be the digital football academy. So our vision is this, is to become the TOEFL of football, to have football now we have in 29 countries, to have in 100 countries in the next 2 years, and also to deploy basketball, hockey, and cricket by 2020. By 2031, we'll have more people playing cricket using LinkSports than football. And
Wow,
so that maybe gives you a perspective of our global vision.
that's great. And before we wrap up here, Nissan, because you've been super generous with your time here, how can our viewers here at the Game Plan stay up to date with everything you're doing here and follow Link Sports?
Thank you very much. That's a very nice question. All I have to say is, first of all, download our app. You have it available on Apple Store or Google Play, whether you have, of course, an Android or an iPhone. Just download. It's called Link Sports. Show your game. Enroll as a player. I don't know who your audience is, with probably many parents of players and players. Just enroll as a player or a guardian or a fan if you just want to look at them. And you can also send your help. You can send $10 only once to a player, and believe me, you're going to change their life, because they will go home and say, Dad, I made money with football. Do you know how many of the 40 millions that are trying this in Brazil and the 1 million players in Canada, how many of them actually make money out of sports? I told you, less than 1%. When they make, because someone helped them, is incredible. So download the app. And to better understand what we do, just go on the web, www.linksports.com. And I think it's going to open the horizon of your view of how can this game become more fair, not only to the best players, not only to Diro, who just became an investor in our platform, and we are so proud of it, but not only for the rich former players, not only for Cristiano Ronaldo, not only for Neymar, not only for Messi, but for the millions and millions of kids that are dreaming to become a Messi. So that's our message, and thank you very much for your time watching this.
I greatly appreciate you sharing your time and coming on here to talk all about this. I wish you all the best with it, and hope to
Thank
do
you.
it down the line when we see more and more kids on Link Sports.
Thank you, Giancarlo, for your time and your audience. Thank you.